Obviously, there's a lot of conversation nowadays about, the value of what a woman brings and the value of what a man brings in a relationship. And now there's a lot more rhetoric from our women that we hear is, I'm strong, independent, I don't need no man, right? So,
that's pain speaking, though.
Right.
Because most black women know they will never get a man. A black woman can have sex whenever she wants.
Right.
Because she's beautiful. She can have a bed mate, but to have a soul mate, she may never get. I have 2 daughters, 11 and 20, right? My oldest will be 21 this week. Statistically, right? There's a strong chance my daughter could be one of those. I hope she's not. She could be one of those who never get a husband because only 1 out of 4 gets a husband. You see that?
Dr. Umar, you are admitting that you know your daughter may not get a husband, but you're making it seem like the reason will be based on stats. The reason will be based on her. It's inward, not outward. And when it comes to black females, Dr. Umar believes that every problem and the reason for every issue is outward. It's like to him, there's no such thing as consequences. And whatever failed results they get, it has nothing to do with their personal choices. No personal accountability. Listen, I support Dr. Umar and his mission to build a school for black boys and black girls, but I don't agree with this message here. It's Dr. Umar Johnson speaking to the brothers of the Daily Wrap-Up crew. Take a second to make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. Click that notification bell for all updates. Won't waste any time. Let's go ahead and jump into it.
So when a black woman says, I don't need a man, that is a reaction to the reality that I may not get a man.
So why not preach? Because I understood, you're obviously against interracial relations when it comes to black men with with white women.
With all women. You should only be with the black woman.
And you will say, well, if you can't find a good woman in America, there's
somewhere else.
In
Absolutely.
Africa. So why not teach that same rhetoric to our women? Like if you feel
I tell sisters all the time, go to Africa. So I know sisters who marry. I just spoke with a sister. She invited me to the wedding. She just married a brother from the continent.
So, but instead of saying they will never get married,
I'll take sisters to Africa who married brothers they met in Africa.
Right.
So yeah,
I think I think there's obviously plenty of black men
and
black women. So
and what I also tell black women, if
married,
you're going to go get you an African man from the continent,
right,
you're going to have to understand that the way in which you talk to black men in America will not be tolerated over there.
Why the fuck is it tolerated? It's not tolerated here. That's what we're trying to tell them.
Exactly.
Shout out to the Daily Wrap-Up crew, on point for sure. Once again, Dr. Umar is acknowledging that black women have an attitude problem, specifically with their mouths. He's saying he told them they can't talk to men in Africa the way they talk crazy to men in America. Dr. Umar, do you think that these black women who can't seem to keep a decent man will be going to Africa to try to find a man if they were already feminine and cooperative women? The problem they can't escape is their own rebellious attitude. That's why it would never work, because every man anywhere is turned off by that repulsive behavior.
Well, over here, I want to say this to us though. Because we try to act like the way sisters treat us doesn't have a history that we are not at least partly responsible for. Let's be honest. The black woman has had to hold down the black house by herself, although imperfectly. She's had to do it by herself since the mass incarceration of black males began in the 1970s. You understand me? Most of our children are raised by a single mother right now. And it has been that way for about 50 years. So when a sister says, I don't need a man, because she couldn't find one strong enough to hold her down. Or when you meet a woman and you say, sister, I'm strong enough to be your man. You ain't got to work or you ain't got to pay the bills or whatever. Pull back, I got you. And she can't do it because all the other men before you who disappointed her. So what I'm saying is, black men, we got to be patient with our women because we created that personality. We created that, and then we want to act like we didn't play a role.
We have to be held accountable for their poor selection.
No, you have to be held accountable. No, you have to be held accountable because they have a poor selection.
See, he knows that black women are ending up with failed results because of their poor choices, but Dr. Umar is saying because she's not good at making decisions, black men must be held accountable. He's saying that black women are leading these households alone, but as the leader of the household, she can take credit when things go well, but when there's failure within her system that she's running, it's not her fault as the leader of her household. And I'm so sick of these excuses of mass incarceration. These people will really make it seem like every black man went to prison. Right now, 2 out of 3 black kids are being raised by their mama for 2 reasons. Number 1, because their mama didn't choose the right father. You have a lot of women out here making babies with strangers, people they barely know, out of wedlock, and they are not vetting the man they give access to, and they don't care about red flags. And or two, they are not qualified for marriage and long-term commitment. Again, it's personal choices that you have to be accountable for personally.
See, what you're saying, you're selecting a poor mate. And what I'm saying is they don't have much to select one, so of course she's going to end up with a poor mate. And why is she going to end up with a poor mate? Because we as black men are not raising black boys to be the men that our women need.
Of course, she's going to end up making a poor choice. Here's the truth. They got with him because that's what they wanted. They love D-boys and now scammers. They love chasing after athletes with $100 million contracts and 10 women. They love all of that. That's what they want. They love men that's going to let them run all over them. There are plenty of great options of men out here, but they overlook them. Those men are invisible to them simply because that's not who they want. They don't want Dr. Beavermouth Boyce Watkins until after they have no other choice with 3, 4, 5 kids in tow. And then they want to make him their personal janitor.
We are not. They out there killing themselves right now. What we doing about it? Unemployed black males, what we doing about it? Pants sagging, weed smoking, what we doing about it? Black men are not raising black boys to be the men our community needs. That is 100% our fault. What I'm saying is she got a right to be angry with us. She got a right to be angry with us.
I understand
we have not been on our job as black men.
Nah, Dr. Umar, your baby mama's got the right to be mad at you. He's trying to group all of this together. The community is not responsible for the kids that are made. It's the people who created them. And honestly, a lot of these women should be mad at themselves. It's their choice. They're the ones given all the power.
If the men are the providers, what have we been providing for our community? I'm not speaking you individually.
Yes.
Because you may be a damn good father. You may be a damn good father. You may be a damn good father. But guess what? What are we doing for the community? What are we doing for the children who don't have a father? You don't think the black woman got a right to be angry when she's been raising 2/3 of the kids by herself for 50 years?
No, she does not have the right to be angry with other people who have nothing to do with her circumstances.
And the minute she raised her voice, we say she's not humble enough?
Yeah, Dr. Umar, but you told her that she couldn't go to Africa and raise her voice over there. It's not the responsibility of the next man to care why she's raising her voice. He doesn't have anything to do with what happened to her before. That's the main reason why men don't like women with baggage.
She had to become masculine to survive the molest, the domestic abuse. Are you telling me you can't see how we created that?
No, everybody doesn't have to pay for her trauma. Go get a psychologist. Go get therapy. Go and heal yourself. And that's not the reason why they're masculine. They're masculine because that's what they want to be. They want power. They're rebellious. They don't want to listen. They don't want to follow instructions. They don't want to follow a leader. They want to be the leader but don't want any of the real responsibility. That's the real reason. They like the freedom of not having structure.
I understand that, but she needs to be
If we was loving our women and taking care of our women, do you think she would be like that? That personality has a history.
If she's picking Pookie and Ray Ray instead of
you're making her a scapegoat.
No, she's picking a scapegoat.
No.
There's good quality men that they ignore.
Why she even got it? Why is there even a Pookie in the selection?
Because 9 times out of 10, another woman just like her raised them.
You gotta ask her that.
No. I'm gonna tell you why there's a Pookie in the selection.
What?
Because black men have abandoned black boys and have allowed social media, white media, athletes, and rappers to raise them. That's why she with Pookie. If we never allowed Pookie to develop, she would not have a Pookie. If we're going to be men, the first thing we got to do is take responsibility for why our women feel the way they feel.
I just don't understand why it's so hard for people to understand that the women who choose Pookie, they choose him because that's what they like. That's what they like. Nobody can make her be with him if that's not what she wanted.
I can hear that.
I'm not saying that they're right to disrespect, because even if a woman disrespects me, right? That still don't give me a right to disrespect her because she's still the queen of the community.
Wait a damn minute.
I'm not saying that they're right to disrespect, because even if a woman disrespects me, right? That still don't give me a right to disrespect her because she's still the queen of the community. Even if she's not acting like it, I'm going to give it that respect. But when I hear brothers talk like this discourse we having now, we act like we don't understand.
No,
there's reasons for that.
No one cares about the reason. The world doesn't owe you understanding.
Okay, women are so valuable. You get what I'm saying? Like, I think women ground men and help them, propel to the next level. I think men get further in life with a woman, right? But if I'm a hardworking man, but I'm only looked as resources,
okay,
and then she's ready to jump on Tom, Dick, and Harry because he got flash, he's shining a little bit more, his access to money is quicker than mine. It's kind of hard to have that.
Well, no, one, I agree with you, but that's not all sisters.
No, it's not.
If you're constantly running into that type of woman, then the problem is you, because you're attracting a certain low vibrational energy. Why
not have that same energy for women? You just again, you have
because
demand
we having a
responsible.
conversation as men.
Yeah,
I got plenty of interviews with all women where I check them too.
All right.
But as a man, you should not be concerned about what I say to them. No, as men, we should be concerned of what we're going to do to produce a better generation of black males for tomorrow. That's the only, that is where we should be focusing.
Women bring the choice of life, right? We understand that, right? I can't have a child unless a woman agrees.
And she can't carry one if you didn't put it in her.
I agree with that 100% too, right? But whether or not, if you want that child or not, she can still make that decision. It's only up to her.
If you don't put a seed in her, nothing else happens. And no woman can make you put a seed in her. So the original act was the responsibility of a man.
True. I mean,
yeah, and that's why men have to protect their seed. Because once you give it to her, you lose control. And she's the one given the control by way of the state.
All right. So, did black men willingly leave the household, or was it the system that was?
It was systemic.
All right. So how, if we giving them grace for them having to do it without us, but it wasn't our fault, how are we not getting that same grace and that same respect?
I'm gonna tell you why.
Why?
I'm gonna tell you why. Because black men, as the leaders of the community, now
we can't be leaders.
Here's the question we gotta make. Here's the question. Because the argument y'all make, feeds into the feminist agenda.
Okay.
It's an argument that says, I don't want the responsibility.
I'm a leader.
I don't want to fix right? I'm gonna fall back and let her run everything. That's what the feminists tell. They say, look at them, making excuses for why they can't be better men, making excuses for why they can't make better men. You understand? Your argument feeds the feminist narrative. That's
not what we make excuses for.
I'm saying I am the better man, but I shouldn't be held responsible because you wanted to choose a Pookie and a Ray Ray. That's not me. I work too hard in my life. I'm gonna go back
to what I said. Pookie and Ray Ray shouldn't exist. And the only reason why Pookie and Ray Ray exist because we're not in the community making those boys the men they need to be. Do you see that? And she don't get a Pookie if you didn't allow a Pookie.
But she got an Eli. She ain't come to Eli. She went to Pookie. And that's what we're trying to say.
She wouldn't have had a Pookie if we didn't allow one.
I worked too hard in my life.
She wouldn't have had a Pookie if we didn't allow one.
No, she wouldn't have a Pookie if she didn't choose one.
Umar,
men supposed to make raise the boys.
Right. We as men is holding other men accountable for the same thing that you talking about right now.
What are we doing for the young brothers in the street? So
what you mean, mentoring them? Now I mean, he's a great father.
I ain't talking about that's individual. That's good, but that's individualism. What are we doing collectively as men to change the trajectory for black boys in the streets right now? Nothing.
We're being a voice.
And that's where Dr. Umar is getting me. He's continuing to discount their real efforts as fathers in their own homes and leaders in their own homes to make them accountable for people who are not related to them, who they have no authority over.
I mean, you could take it.
It's not going to get better unless we put hands on deck. The reason the athletes and the rappers are the role models is the professional black man moved out the hood. Where the dentist at? He ain't in the black community no more. Where the lawyer at? Where the business owner at? Where your city council person at? We abandon black boys and then we blame black men for poor choices in mates that they should not even have to make if we did a better job raising our boys the right way. At the end of the day, if I'm gonna call myself a man, the ultimate responsibility for reconstruction of the black community rests with me. Yes, they have a role. Yes, they have responsibility. But as a man, as a leader, to say I can't fix this unless she changes, that's not the definition of a man.
Communities are made up of families. That's with the man, the woman, and the children. The men can't build a community without the cooperation of women. Women have to play their role. They don't want to do that. Another issue that's been brewing for a while is that Black women don't think they're a part of the community. They think they're a separate class.
It was about, I care about what's in this contract with Black America for women, and it's not, we're not mentioned at all in the contract with Black America. And I
You're
want to
mentioned. I mean, when you mention Black people, you mentioning Black women. So don't count yourself out.
No,
Yes,
that's
you
not
are.
true.
That's like administration say that when they
Black people is not
minorities,
Black women.
that's not
Black
true.
women are not included in Black people.
No,
ladies.
that is. But that's like, that's like you saying. That's like when the
Yeah, I think we're on two different accords. Like, I don't think we're saying that. What I'm saying is I'm capable of being that leader, that provider. I've worked hard in my life. You get what I'm saying? I should not have to do.
You still go back to individualism.
But I only feel like we tell Black men that we have to now deal with masculine women, women with children.
Why is she masculine?
Again, he doesn't care. It's not his responsibility to fix her. He built himself up to be a higher quality man, and he's able to choose what kind of woman he's going to allow in his life.
Because she's had to raise the kids alone. Not one woman, brother. You mean to tell me, a whole community.
So you mean to tell me the only woman I could look forward in my life is a masculine woman that has kids by other men?
No.
That's what I have to look forward to?
But I'm telling you, mistakes made by Black men systemically gave rise to the conditions that allowed her to be masculine and made her end up with a man that you consider to be less than what he should be. And I'm telling you, Black men are responsible for her being masculine because we have not helped her raise them children.
I am not.
Eli is saying that's not on him. He's not about to be the janitor, and that's what Umar is wanting Black men to be, the cleanup men.
I say help them raise them children, I don't mean you as the stepdad.
No,
I mean you as an active member in the community where we go to every single parent Black mother and say, how many sons you got? 2? How many sons you got? 2? Well, guess what? That's your son's big brother. That's your son's big brother. He taking them to school. He doing the homework. He gonna spend a couple hours with them every Saturday. He got his own kids too, but he gonna make time for you.
Dr. Umar lost his mind. He's been trying to use shaming tactics to get Black men on board with his nonsense. You're not a good man unless you take care of your children and all the other ones in the community who don't belong to you. If they don't have a father, those kids who don't belong to you, their failure is on you. How do you expect for a man to spend time with his own children, his own wife, his own family, while also giving this level of attention to Dontario Montavious with his homework too? Pick him up too, take him out on Saturdays, and then on top of all of that, having to provide for your own family? That deal sounds worse than playing stepdaddy, because in that scenario, the mama don't even owe you anything. She don't have to submit to you and you get less appreciated. I think people into mentoring, they should definitely do it if they can, and if that's in their heart to do it. But to tell Black men they have to be responsible for somebody else's seed or else they're not a man, that's just crazy.
She got masculine because she had to become masculine in order to deal with the abuse, the domestic violence, the disappointments that men had in their life.
Then I love how he's naming all this trauma as if Black men didn't also experience trauma. For men and women as adults, none of that gives you a pass for your bad behavior. None of it.
And also raising those kids and have to take care of herself all at the same time. The Black woman has been the be all in all in our community for half of a century. And now we want to turn around and say because she didn't do it perfectly enough or remain feminine enough when she had to absorb our responsibilities plus her own, that's insensitive and disingenuous.
I don't believe so.
Yeah, I can't.
I mean, I guess I do understand what you're saying.
I'm not taking
you
nothing
have
back from
yet
that.
to tell me something that we've done systemically to combat that. Because you keep saying me and her. I don't care about me and her.
But there's plenty
women and men. Women and men as a group in the community. You understand?
Right.
We gave birth to that.
No, Dr. Umar, you did. What household did you build for your children? Yeah, I love the idea of the school and I've always supported it. And I understand he wants to save the whole world. But what do you do for your own children? The best way to build the community is for individual families to get their house in order, not to hold others accountable for mistakes they didn't make.
You see? So you say she had a couple kids already because she met men. She probably thought they was good, some of them. They left her.
She knew they wasn't good.
You don't know that, brother.
She knew they wasn't good.
You're making assumptions about her. Would you make the same assumption if she was a white woman?
Yes, I would.
So you say.
No,
come on, man. Come on.
Listen,
all women accountable.
So you say.
Listen, like I said, I feel like as a Black man,
we don't hold them all accountable because Black men date outside their race more than every other man put together.
I said we.
Y'all three?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
I can't disprove that because I don't know you personally.
Even that,
but
if we look at the numbers, black men marry black women at an 87% rate, where black women marry outside of their race, or they marry outside at a 92%.
Black women do not. No, you're wrong.
That's percentages of
You're wrong.
That's not that much.
Black women do not marry out the race more than black men.
I'm
That's
not
wrong.
saying that, but the percentages
Black
ain't that
women,
far off. That's what I'm
black
saying.
women have one of the highest, fastest growing interracial marriage rates. But her interracial marriage rate pales in comparison to what black men have been doing interracially for 4 or 5 decades. You understand? She don't even come close to what we're doing interracially.
And it's not because she's just so loyal. It's because other groups of men, they have the same standards. They're also not attracted to uncooperative women.
Fathers are in the home more than any other group or race.
Okay. But what
that has no value?
It does have value, but we're going to put that up against the other statistic. 2/3 of our kids are being raised by the women. 2/3 of our kids are being raised by the women. And like I said, when I say being raised, I'm not saying it needs to be a father. I would like a father in that house, but I know it's not enough of us to go around.
Yeah.
We are not even being accountable to the boys in the hood. And we're complaining about the women.
I argue with women
who are making babies with the irresponsible men that we didn't raise correctly. That's bullshit.
Here we go again. He believes that the women who got with the Pookie and Ray Rays, it's not their fault that they wanted to be with Pookie and Ray Ray, that they wanted to have relations with Pookie and Ray Ray, that they allowed Pookie and Ray Ray in unprotected. They both made a baby and she's the one who gave birth to it. But she has zero accountability, and the men who had absolutely nothing to do with this transaction, they're the ones who have to be held accountable for it.
All right.
That's wimp ass weak man. Take responsibility for our Stop scapegoating them.
Yeah.
See, Umar is really talking about himself. How are you going to tell the men who are in the house with their kids, taking care of their own kids, or men who don't have any kids at all, to take responsibility for other people's problems? And yelling and calling them weak, it doesn't make you right.
I could agree to that.
All I'm saying is, look at all we could be doing better, man. Half the black boys in the 4th grade can't read. What black men doing about that systemically?
Not enough.
I know what I'm doing about it. I'm building a school for it, 2 of them. But
you know what? I'm tired. Umar, I don't want to hear another word about that school until the boys are enrolled and going to the school 5 days a week like any other normal school. I don't want to hear about it anymore until then. A child not performing well in school, a child not being able to read, that is on the parent or parents who they live with. They're supposed to be teaching them. That's the person ultimately responsible for their day-to-day activities, including education.
Systemically, as black men, what are we doing about that? Nothing. Black boys are the most unemployed teenager in America. What black men doing about that?
Not
the Pookie and Ray Ray you kept talking about? We letting them raise right before our eyes, and then we want to criticize us for ending up with one when we should have made sure there were none.
The only way to make sure that you don't have those is for the reckless men and the reckless women to stop making babies. That's the only way for it to happen. But to blame the responsible folks, that's out of order.
Listen, we all got choices. Just like if I choose to live a lifestyle,
You're dealing with individualism again. I can't deal with that.
That's part of choices.
No, it's not. We have to deal with this systemically. He brought up a question earlier, and he said, "Did we make these problems on our own, or was there some systemics involved?" It was systemics.
Okay.
In 1970, they shut down the factories. They took out the industrial building jobs. 1980, dropped off the and the AIDS. 1990, the Bill Clinton crime bill. There's systemic factors at play. You totally divorce your analysis from any systemic factors at all. You ain't mentioned one. You keep talking about her and Pookie and Ray Ray with the kids. You ain't say about the systemics. That's exactly what white folks want you to do.
See, what's happening now is Dr. Umar couldn't come up with a logical reason to blame black men for the bad behavior and uncooperative attitudes of black women. So now he's bringing up white people. You're not going to succeed fighting any group of people about anything if you can't get your own house in order first. I understand you don't know how to do that, but let me show you my people who got it right.
I met him when I was 14, and he kept coming around, so eventually I fell in love with him, married him, been with him for 80 years, and I don't regret not one bit.
We've had loving parents who are 99 years old, who have been married for 80 years, who provided a good home for us, stability.
That's how you do it. By the way, go ahead and watch this video next. I'm going to leave the link below. But Dr. Umar, this is a thriving community right here when it's filled with families like this.
That's what white folks want you to do.
I'm saying that
ignore
I have made
what I've done to your women and scapegoat her. Because that's what she's doing to you. She's ignoring what the system did to you. And she's going to scapegoat you. And we're both scapegoating each other.
Okay, that's fair.
Your analysis is feeding the gender war. It's not solving it.
Listen,
I don't mind us holding the women accountable. I don't mind us holding the men accountable.
Right?
Yeah. But when we're going to hold the system accountable as well.
That's fair.
And if we're going to hold the system accountable, that also means we got to make our own systems too.
In order to make your own system, the women will have to cooperate and play their role, but instead they want to be in control.
Black men have not been manly in quite some time when it comes to raising boys.
How would you suggest that black men
who are dealing with cooperative women, no matter if it's their ex or their wife, they're able to raise their boys just fine with cooperation. But when you have destructive women, spiteful women, bitter women, women dragging them through the courthouse, men dealing with parental alienation, where the women want them to put up a fight to see their kids, or those women who selfishly hold on to these kids all because they don't want to lose the benefits. Those are the ones making up the problem.
Black men have not been manly in quite some time when it comes to raising boys.
How would you suggest that black men take on the role of leadership,
especially when there's an attack on black masculinity,
without women willing to listen to us? You get what I'm saying? How do we prove our worth or take back the leadership
care of the boys?
role?
You want the women back? Take care of these damn boys. They run in the hood, killing people at will, flunking out of school, following the lead of the gangster rappers. There's a whole bunch of stuff we can do that ain't got nothing to do with the women, boys and men. Do you understand? Deal with the boys and the men. Leave her out of it and go straight to the boys. And you'll get her respect back. Give them jobs, give them education, give them training, give them your time. They not getting none of that from black men. We don't give a shit about black boys. And then we're gonna get mad at her for ending up with one later in life. It's ridiculous.
Like I said,
we product and get mad for her for ending up consuming the product.
No, actually, she's the one who created the product, because most of these kids are being raised in single parent homes led by women. That means that it's a mother who has sole legal physical custody of all these kids. They make all the decisions for them and they're 100% in control of them. So no, Umar, it will be the black women that's raising them that's creating the state of these boys and these girls that we see today.
She could consume whatever she wants. I'm just saying, as a black man,
it's not about her consuming whatever she wants, brother. Because if we're trying to fix the black community, everybody and everything matters. It's not individual. You're an individualist. You're not thinking as a community. Your whole analysis is based on me and her. Step out of that shit. This is the systems at play. You understand?
Right.
Multiple black men screwed up. Multiple black women screwed up. You understand me? Look at the systemic nature and say, what system do we need to create as black men to prevent the Pookie and Ray Ray from coming into existence?
Or I, as a black man, can just look for a woman that is healed, that is leading in her femininity, that doesn't have a child by another woman.
But that doesn't solve community problems. We're talking about community solutions. That's individualism.
In order to fix a community, individuals must clean up their own house. I agree with Eli. The best plan of action for men like him is to get with a cooperative woman that's on his team, a woman that's ready to play her position. That's how you build generational success. Two individuals coming together, playing their positions, doing the work and staying together. Again, I support Umar and what he's been trying to do with the school, but nah, Dr. Umar, shout out to the Daily Wrap-Up crew. Great discussion. Let's go ahead and get the conversation started below. Remember to check out this video. I'll have the links below. Special shout out to our brother Edmund. I appreciate you, Edmund, for your support. One time for Peggy checking in. Our brother Nathaniel, Yuan, and Jamal. Don't forget that you can support this channel as well. Links to Cash App and PayPal are below. Ladies, fellas, want a balanced analysis, want the truth from a woman's perspective? Then you're going to want to subscribe to this channel and don't forget to like and share.